Must have been a restless night for politicians as well as political watchers in Karnataka, as also the rest of the country. But the politicians are back to the drawing board right now, working on the math to convince the governor that they have the numbers. The Congress JDS combined claims they have the strength, and the BJP says the single largest party status gives it the ticket to stake claim to the throne. One thing's for sure, the potboiler is not going to end anytime soon. In fact, if Times Now is to be believed, sources tell them that the BJP is offered the JDS CM post and is ready to give the CM post to JDS. So lots that's happening right now. Let's get two spokespeople from their respective parties to share the perspective. Mr. Sudhesh Verma of the BJP and Mr. Salman Soz of the Congress join in. Gentlemen, both of you, very good morning and thanks for taking the time out. Mr. Verma, I'll start off with you. Times Now is saying that the BJP is ready to give the CM post to JDS. Can you confirm or deny whether this is true?
No, I'm not aware of this development. I'm aware that Yediyurappa ji, who is our chief ministerial candidate, projected chief ministerial candidate, had gone to the governor along with senior BJP leaders yesterday and staked claim to form the government by virtue of being the single largest party. And we are very confident that the governor, if goes by constitutional niceties, then definitely will give Mr. Yediyurappa a chance to form the government and prove his majority. And we are very confident that since the mandate was against the Congress, it's an anti-Congress mandate, whether it has gone to JDS or BJP, and people of Karnataka didn't want to bring the Congress back, so Congress should not do anything to subvert the mandate. And there are many people who have their own conscience and they don't want Congress in power. So it should be allowed Congress to sit out and just wait for the development to take place.
Okay, I'll get Mr. Soz to respond to this as well. But, okay, let's leave what the latest development that Times Now is claiming to be out of the window right now, because we don't have any confirmation at that. There are two or three things out here, gentlemen, would want both of you to weigh in. Tamanna Inandar, my colleague yesterday, was reporting that if you go by the Sarkaria Commission and what they have given in the past, that's also a commission formed in 2010, as also probably a 5-judge Supreme Court bench in 2006 case has said that the single largest party should be given the first chance if there is no pre-poll alliance in place to stake claim. That is part one. Part two of this puzzle is that in the previous two state elections that's happened, the single largest party hasn't got the chance to do that. Mr. Verma, I'll first want you to weigh in. While constitutionally, and you may be right if you look at what the Sarkaria Commission or the 2010 Commission mentioned, and you may be right in that count, but the BJP in the past two state elections has not gone ahead in the same vein as well. Why is it that the stakes in or the ruling in Karnataka should be different?
You see, it is for the governor office to reply to your question. We cannot reply on behalf of the governor because we are a party to that. But let me tell you, if we try to understand the Goa example about which you are citing, then Goa, the Congress had not even made the claim to form the government. And even if you become the single largest party, unless you stake claim, how would the governor know that you are actually interested in forming the government? You have to show interest. The Congress was caught napping and all the other parties joined the BJP, and then we staked the claim. We were the first party to stake claim and we formed the government. So Congress expects that governor invite them. You have to stake claim. This is what Yediyurappa ji has done, the first thing.
Mr. Soz, you want to respond to this? I can take in the argument that the JDS Congress combine has gone out and said that they have the largest numbers. But if the previous commission's orders, as also as I said, the 2006 case, which the 5-judge Supreme Court bench had mentioned, is to be believed, there is a case being made. If there is no pre-poll alliance, the largest party should get the chance to stake claim first.
Well, yes, that is what we argued in Goa, in Manipur, in Meghalaya. And all this, BJP people are spreading this whole thing about how the Congress party did not lay a claim, and how would the governor know if the Congress party wants to form the government? But the mandate in Goa especially was decidedly against the BJP. They were brought down to 12 seats. We were 3 seats short of the mandate of a majority. The Goa incumbent chief minister was defeated. What other mandate do you want? Now, Mr. Arun Jaitley at that time also said that a post-poll formation. The governor has the discretion to invite the post-poll formation if they have the numbers. In this particular case, we have the numbers. Now, the governor cannot just divine somehow that the BJP is going to have a majority. On what basis would the BJP have a majority? BJP has 104 seats, actually 103 because one seat is in dispute. Congress party has 78, JDS has 38, that is 116. As far as I know, there's a BSP candidate who is with us. There's another independent candidate who's with us. So what I don't understand is what reasonable person in this country could say that the BJP has the majority and has the possibility of forming a government, unless the BJP with its vast resources, with Amit Shah and Narendra Modi and all these guys, they can engineer defections. And if that is what people want, that's fine. They can do that. We can't obviously stop them if they engineer defections. But I think the people of the country will take notice.
Yeah, they will, and I'm sure Mr. Verma wants to respond. But Mr. Soz, the argument is not about whether the BJP is claiming that they have the majority or no. The argument, and the question that I'm throwing out here is that if indeed, if you go by the Constitution and what's happened or what should have happened as per the Commission reports, then in the absence of a pre-poll alliance, the largest party should get a chance. And Mr. Verma, I'll come to you. But Mr. Soz, you want to respond to that question first before I go to Mr. Verma?
No, I'm sorry. No, Neeraj, I think this has not been consistently followed because I'm giving you three recent examples where in Goa, Manipur and Meghalaya, this was not followed. And the reason was that the governor was maybe somehow convinced, I don't know how, that the BJP should be asked to come in, even though they were not the single largest party, even though they had lost elections badly. In Meghalaya, they had 2 seats. In Manipur, they were way behind us. So now if the BJP suddenly kind of says, oh, we're the single largest party, that means the message to the opposition is, heads I win, tails you lose. And that is not democracy. That is subversion of democracy. Every Indian can understand that. This is not complicated. This is not rocket science. No matter what Mr. Verma says, no matter what the Prime Minister says. The Prime Minister said yesterday that we should uphold constitutional norms. If you look at the legality of this, there is no reason for the governor not to invite us. Just like governors in other states like Goa, Manipur and Meghalaya invited the BJP.
Yeah, I'm sure the governor will take into account or take opinion from the Attorney General. But Mr. Verma, you want to respond to this?
Yes, you see, there is an institution called court. If something wrong happened in Goa and Manipur, then the Congress would have got relief. This is something which the governor's decision has been vindicated. So let's not try to question. Every situation is a different situation. If you want to talk about Manipur, then there is already a NEDA that exists. Northeast Democratic Alliance exists there, and all the partners together. When it came with BJP, it got larger number than what the Congress had, and Congress actually twice there was chief minister. Was third term, and the numbers came down from 42.
No.
Please hold on. The number came from 42 to 28.
But
so
Mr.
now,
Verma finish his point, please. Yeah, Mr. Verma, finish your point.
Now the situation is. Now the situation is there have been presidencies of both kinds. There have been presidencies of both kinds. It's not that one kind is there, other kind is not there. And you remember Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, we did not have the majority that time, but still because BJP was the single largest party, Atal Bihari Vajpayee was brought in and sworn in as Prime Minister. He resigned after 13 days because no party actually supported. But he was able to communicate because this was a vote for change. And Vajpayee actually thought that maybe there would be some party whose conscience will break, some MPs whose conscience will prick, and they might end up supporting the government, because it's not the majority that is important, it is majority on the floor of the House. And Mr. Narasimha Rao ran a minority government, you must remember it. So what happens on the floor of the assembly is very important, and we strongly feel that since it is a vote for Karnataka, JDS spoke about Karnataka and termed Siddaramaiah as the most corrupt chief minister the state ever had, and JDS also criticized the Congress on many fronts. So if it is in the benefit of Karnataka, the vote has been given. You cannot turn into an anti-BJP mandate.
No, Mr. Verma, so I take on board the point. The question mark obviously is what happens next. And Mr. Soz, I think one point that Mr. Verma makes to an extent correctly is that if I was listening to a lot of your party experts, some legal experts on general news channels last night talking about that if indeed the governor were to invite the BJP, the Congress will take this matter to the Supreme Court. And some people believe that Supreme Court verdict would be final there. Mr. Verma makes this point that if indeed that were to be the case, there's nothing that stops the Congress from going to the court. And if the Congress is saying that the BJP subvented the moves and formed the government in the previous 3 states, nothing stopped the Congress party from going to the court if they believed that it was not followed in spirit and legality.
Listen. Basically, what Mr. Verma and the BJP want is a former RSS man to do their bidding. But remember, the governors of states report to the President of India, and the President of India is an apolitical person. At this stage, the President has to see what happened in some cases. Please if Mr. Verma is so interested in numbers, the JDS leadership and the Congress leadership have decided to form a government together. We have the numbers. Everybody in India knows that we have the numbers. On what basis should the BJP invited? On what basis should they be invited? Why? I don't understand. What is the need for going to the Supreme Court when we have the numbers? When people choose MLAs, MLAs decide on the government. There are 116 MLAs from 2 parties saying that we're going to form the government. These people talk about, oh no, we should be given a chance. Why? On what basis? Now he talks about a mandate. Of course, BJP has received a great share of the seats. Congratulations to them. But when you look at how the votes have been polled since 1999. This is the highest vote share that Congress has received. In fact, this is not anti-incumbency. This is actually pro-incumbency. It's unfortunate that the way the system works, some seats concentrated for the BJP have gone to them. Otherwise, the vote share for the Congress is the highest, much more than the BJP, is the highest since 1999. Actually, Congress has improved its vote share. So the mandate is not really, in that sense, against the Congress party. The Congress party and the JDS together have 3/5 of the vote share. They have more than well above the 50% mark in seats. The governor should invite us. If the governor does not, the president should intervene. If the president does not, the Supreme Court will have to go to the Supreme Court. Okay. But in all of this, I think people of the country realize that the BJP will do anything to grab power, anything, and that is what they're doing in Karnataka.
Okay, fair. Before I ask my final question to Mr. Soz, Mr. Verma has to make a point. So that point, and then one final question to Mr. Soz. Mr. Verma, your point, please.
You see, this is not correct to question the office of the governor, irrespective of the ideology he belonged to. Once you become governor, then all ideologies apart, you go by the constitution. And that is why we should not cast aspersion on the office of the governor, even before a decision is taken or even after the decision is taken. You have the court to, address the issue if something wrong has happened. It has happened earlier also. We would just expect the Congress not to get so excited. They must understand that the mandate is against them. The mandate is for BJP and for the JDS. They must understand this. BJP has been off the mark only by, say, 6 seats. And a party that is just off the mark by 6 seats, you are saying it does not have the mandate, and you have lost close to 44 seats from what you were, and you are saying that the mandate is in your favor. Don't try to subvert the mandate, because people of Karnataka would not like this.
Gentlemen, I would just want to intervene out here.
There are many people who have voted because they were angry with the Congress non-performance.
Gentlemen, I would want to intervene out here. Gentlemen, I would want to intervene out here, and the reason I'm saying I want to intervene out here is because these conversations about what nature of the mandate have been consummated ad nauseum yesterday. So I just don't want to get into that. I just have one final question really on this debate. The whole idea of this conversation was to figure out what could be the best way forward for the people of Karnataka and for people in the markets to know what the eventual outcome would be. So the 2 or 3 outcomes that are there, we've kind of discussed them. I just have one final question. I know I mentioned that since we don't have any confirmation of what Times Now just spoke about 20 minutes ago, about the BJP offering HDS the CM's post, I won't talk about that, but I'm forced to bring that out in my final question to Mr. Soz. Mr. Soz, if that were to happen, that the BJP offers the CM post to JDS the same way that Congress did yesterday, what happens then? What if JDS believes that it's a better proposition for them?
Look, JDS is an independent party. They're free to do what they want. But if they take lessons from what is happening elsewhere in the country, they'll realize that the BJP has no interest in propping up JDS for the long term. They're going to finish them off. They're going to finish off Nitish Kumar. They've basically opposed Chandrababu Naidu. They're going after all their allies. They're not interested in their allies. They're interested in power. BJP's single purpose is to amass as much power as they want.
Mr. Soz, my question is not really about what the BJP will do to the partners. My question is about what the Congress will do if such a thing were to happen.
Well, look, the JDS is an independent party. If they feel that they're better off with the BJP, which I can't imagine because it's supposed to be Janata Dal secular. If they're going to ally with this totally communal, totally divisive party, then they're going to suffer the same fate that the PDP is suffering in Kashmir. PDP is now the extremely unpopular in Kashmir, and by the way, BJP is extremely unpopular in Jammu. So I think what will happen to JDS is basically that. I think, so
BJP is a democratic party, a secular party.
Force them to do anything.
Runs by the Constitution of India.
Please do not interrupt, Mr. Verma. Mr. Verma, please do not interrupt. This is not appropriate. I did not interrupt you.
You're using the wrong
word. My point is that JDS has to view. JDS has to view. JDS has to view basically. Mr. Verma, please do not interrupt by shouting. You're not going to make a difference to the people of this country.
You have 30 more seconds to this.
You use the wrong word for my party. Okay, so I have to come and intervene. I do not use that word. If you are within civilized limit, I have no problem.
Everybody knows you have no respect for freedom fighters.
No, I really appreciate the sentiments flowing out here, but we'll keep the opinions about each other's party on the sidelines for now. Gentlemen, please allow me to interrupt. We're just running very short of time here, but as I said, the whole purpose of this interaction was to try and figure out what the course ahead would be, because while you guys were busy looking at the vote share, etc., what the equity markets did yesterday was very, very interesting. It gyrated very, very strongly to the leads as they were coming in, and which is why this discussion and the way ahead was very, very important. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking the time out, and really appreciate your time this morning.